Hey, beautiful people. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Tracy. Good morning, James. Good morning, Ray. How y'all doing on this lovely Friday morning? Um, I am going to try to get back to my normal scheduled programming, even though, losing someone is never easy, regardless of if you've known them for 6 months or 2 years or, it's still, you still care. And a lot, me, myself, and I have a huge heart. And when I care about someone, I truly care. You know, I don't just say those words and they mean nothing to me, you know. Um, but they did finally set a date for her celebration of life. Um, and if you live in the DMV area, I would tell you where it's at. But we have this problem. We have a problem with some of the trolls and things want to disrupt her family. Hey, Miss Toddy. They want to disrupt her family, so we cannot. And the sad part is we can't even release it for people to be able to write on the wall, to be able to say how much they cared about her and loved her, because so many people have been trying to bother the family, and I myself want to protect the family, because they've already been through enough, you know. So that's the reason I can't necessarily release to you, any of the information on where she's going to be, or any of those things. And I apologize to those who really wanted to, you know, love up on her and love up on her family. I will say this. Hey, Big Rigs. If you King ZX is actually going to be the one that purchases the flower arrangement that we're going to send to her family, because those things are really expensive, and in no way, shape, or form could I afford 200 and something dollars by myself. If I could, trust me, I would. Um, so we're all getting together and putting a little bit in the pot, what you can, um, and gonna send one of those nice stand-up wreaths to the family, and whatnot, to show them that her YouTube family loved her, because her YouTube family really did love her. But I just wanted to give that update. Also, this morning, I did not do True Crime Thursday yesterday. Um, and everything. So we do have an update on the Chloe Driver case. Y'all know the cult baby lady, the one that Ray you wanted to cry about because it was breaking your heart. She did get sentenced yesterday. So we do have an update on that. Um, Chloe Driver from the cult baby murder trial. She got sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. So she did get life, because people were worried. The Chloe Driver cult baby murder case, the one where the mother stabbed the 13-month-old baby, and it was really bothering you that day when we were watching her trial. Yeah, her, the one who Demas O was talking, or who was it, Jay Dizzle or Demas O? That was I think it was Jay Dizzle was talking about how that. I know it was Demas O. Yeah, was talking about how that one guy from the cult was like her favorite person ever. He was a star witness. um, but yeah, so basically, um, she was sentenced to you know, what is it? Basically life in prison. Now she made a victim impact statement herself. What we're gonna do is we're gonna watch. Um, and oh Lord, Sarah Boone, y'all, she's over there writing letters to the judge again. Y'all know that lady loved to write her letters. She got convicted, and she got sentenced. But she still liked to write her letters and say court is. Oh Lord, that lady and her drama. But yeah, we watched some of these trials and everything else. I also do have some cute, freaky stories pulled up, spooky stories, that I could read to y'all this morning on Freaky Spooky Friday. But I do want to do an update on this because I missed yesterday's True Crime Thursday. Because obviously with this situation, we went over it. We watched it. She's the one that stabbed to death her 13-month-old daughter. And she got sentenced to. She was sentenced to an additional 20 years to be served concurrently, since the victim was under the age of 18. Chief Judge Ellen McLeod noted that Georgia state indicates parole eligibility after 30 years. Judge McLeod said it is a heinous offense that a parent killing a child offends us on the deepest level. Before the judge handed down her sentence, Chloe read a statement saying, in part, that she accepted her punishment with peace. Chloe also said she grieved for the loss of her daughter every day and saw Hannah everywhere, including in her tears. She told the judge that she believed she would never have done what she did had she not lost her mind. Fear and horror disconnected her from reality, Chloe said. Hannah's biological father, Benjamin Ben Michael, also told the court that Chloe wasn't a victim and claimed she was manipulative. Benham also reflected on Hannah as a happy and engaging child. While responding to a 911 call, police discovered that Chloe and Hannah in a bedroom, both suffering from stab wounds. She tried to plead not guilty by reason of insanity in the court documents. But she ended up getting found guilty and whatnot. We are going to watch, I have it pulled up here. We're going to watch, let's see, make sure I have the right one shared to y'all. Good morning, Vila Shay Love. ZX, Ray ZX is doing the flower arrangement. Grown Folks TV, he's doing the flower arrangement. Him and the writers got together, and Miss Sammy and her people are sending something over there. I myself put some on it because those flower arrangements are not cheap. We were looking at the price of the day, and Tuesday he's going to have a live to where we go over there and choose the exact one. Me, myself, and I just want them to know that she was loved. But I'm going to go ahead and play this video from the true crime section so that we can see did I share the right one? No, I didn't. Start sharing this instead. Oh, and let me go ahead and do something right quick. Oh, I stopped sharing, y'all. Oh man, I'm not into it today, y'all. Excuse me and my craziness today. Under the Copyright Act, disclaimer, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise infringe. We are using this information for news reporting. We're reporting on the news of what happened with this case. So I'm gonna try to get the right one this time. I think it's under, yeah, that one. All right, so we're gonna watch. Is this the verdict or sentencing? I don't want to watch the 2-hour thing.
Young mother accused of killing her daughter, Hannah. 1-year-old little Hannah stabbed to death by her mother. She admits she did it, but the defense here was not guilty by reason of insanity. Will the jury buy it? Let's go into the courtroom and find out what the verdict is.
Thank you. You can be seated. Mr. Foreman, has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Is it signed and dated by you as foreman?
Yes, it is.
All right, if you could give the verdict.
We already know she was found guilty. I want to see the one with her sentencing. Let's see. Do they have a shorter one?
Position that based on the murder with the underlying.
I'm like, oh, this is the Benham, y'all. This is the Benham guy. We're going to switch up to him right quick.
Is it okay to stand?
This is the
You
cult
have to
leader,
tell the
y'all.
Microphones would be better to sit so we can hear you.
That's the cult leader, y'all. That's the one that the women was supposed to be going all crazy for, right? That was the cult. This is the cult leader guy. This is the guy who supposedly has all the women. Okay. I don't see it, but maybe I'm the only one that don't see it for that ugly mofo.
Yes, sir.
Is it forbidden to stand?
Can you state your name?
Benjamin Eliyahu Ben Michal.
Okay. And can you spell that?
B as in boy, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, Y as in yellow.
Also, is it just me or does it look like he ain't washed his head in like 3 weeks? I'm just saying.
A as in apple, M as in Mary, I as in igloo, N as in Nancy. D as in boy, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, hyphen, M as in Mary, I as in igloo, C as in cat, H as in hotel, A as in apple, E as in Edward, I as in igloo, L as in Lucy. Eliyahu, I left out.
That's
E as
fine.
in Edward, L as in Lucy, I as in igloo, Y as in yellow, A as in apple, H as in Harry, U as in useless.
Can you tell us what your relationship was to the victim in this case?
The victim was my daughter, Hannah Nicole, driver Ben Michael.
All right. And Mr. Benjamin, I want you to, or Mr. Ben Michael, I want you to tell the judge about what Hannah was like in life.
645 days ago, I had the most beautiful living daughter on Monday, the 5th of December, 2020. She was dressed in a tiny, prescient little pea coat that was also colored pea, curry yellow. We were at a rest stop in McDowell, North Carolina, and I brought her toward her favorite thing, the arbors, in the middle of the rest stop where the grass was green and the trees were tall and the roots were old and ripped up. I like to call her Naima, which means pleasantness, and she was pleasant to all she came and encountered. The most pleasant.
What was her disposition and demeanor like?
While we stood at that tree, she counted every layer of the roots. She was 13 months old. She had had a penchant for trees since she was a month and a half year old. She was sweet. There are
Okay, now I could kind of see where this motherfucker's crazy, y'all. This mofo was crazy. Oh no, Ray, if you ever want to cover any other trial, criminal or otherwise, I'll do those too. But it's just these are the ones that made top story, if that makes sense. Hey, Miss Jill, good morning. Good morning. This man right here, he sound creepy as shit, don't he? Lord have mercy.
babies that are planned. We know what the opposite of that is. But then there are babies that are planned. This child was deliberate, intentional, and the mental work of 2.5+ years prior to her 9.5 months in utero and her entrance into this world. There are a very special sister with 3 babies. And by the last one, Eliana, we came up with a term. There are forward-facing babies and not forward-facing babies.
Hey, Shaker, Shaker. This motherfucker is off his rocker. This is the cult leader from the cult baby murder trial. And he's trying to talk about his daughter right now. This is supposed to be like a victim impact statement. And listen to what this motherfucker is saying. How did these women follow him? I be done stabbed him in the eyeball. Sorry.
I have an older daughter who's estranged, you've heard about here, named Eiley. She was not a forward-facing baby. Eiley cared about mommy and daddy. You put her head in your armpit and you were wherever you were, and that was not Hannah Nicole. Hannah Nicole was a forward-facing baby, meaning when you carried the baby, she needed to see everybody and smile at them, everybody in the room, as if she almost had an innate nature of knowing that she had very limited time. She had to see everything, and she'd get really, she'd let you know that she needed to be turned around if you were not holding her face forward-facing babies. My sister's little Eliana was like that. I learned to hold her that way. She wanted to be taken around. She wanted to count everything. And she was looking at those roots that day in her little coat, and she had her little curls that came over her hair. And that's my last really strong, close memory of holding my daughter, playing in those roots, those trees. Her disposition was just the sweetest baby. And I'm not saying that as biased dad. I've been around a lot of children. She was different. It's like she was hosting everybody she met. We would run. I wanted to bring the little Legos. We would run, we would play. By the time she was 13 months old, she had a real thing for little cars. We'd chase them around the room together. I'd crawl with her. Beautiful. She was really weird looking. And some babies have this and some babies don't. Between like 4 months and 7 months, they're like growing. Some things are growing too fast. Some things are growing too slow. But by 13 months old, she was so beautiful.
Did you provide photographs that you'd like to
I would like to, please. Yes, Katie.
see of Hannah?
What? Did he just say his child looked weird? I do believe they follow Jim Jones. I do believe that, Ray. I do believe that. This motherfucker just said that baby looked weird. No, he didn't, y'all. No, he didn't. He talking bad about, oh, Lord, sweet baby Jesus.
Hannah,
Please,
Your Honor,
please the court.
I'm going to publish the photographs that,
This is me and Hannah together.
and approximately how long prior to her death was this photo?
About a few months. This is at a
Okay, I got to stop for another second. Who told her? Who in the jail braided this girl's hair? I just want to know that.
really beautiful, inexpensive hotel room in Clinton, Connecticut, and the massive floor space for a hotel room like this. And we were chasing those little cars around all day, these little rev-up cars. So this would be the second week of August of 2020 when we were down with my family, as will be depicted more clearly in better photos coming. And my brother-in-law, Nathaniel Lewis, and my sister and her 3 children were all here meeting their cousin. This is in May of 2020. This is the quartz sand of Siesta Key, Sarasota. And we were spending a lot of time there. We were spending time at Nokomis, in Venice Beach, the adjacent smaller beaches, and we would come in her wagon. And you can see what she's doing. See, she was not a passive baby. She would grab the handle of the wagon and look at me like it was the most fun thing to get and smile at Daddy at Dover, just to smile into my eyes and say, look, I'm leading the wagon. She'd do it every day. She'd take hold of the handle and say, I steer this. This is my wagon. And this is in Clinton, Connecticut again. And you can see, if you want to see her nature, that's her nature. That's her nature.
Was she a happy baby?
She was excited and happy and engaging, and she'd come up to you and want to just learn everything. She'd want to touch you and smile. She'd want to get inside you and let you know that you should be happy too. Grandma threw a tennis ball a little too fast. What? Yeah, that's a picture from, a little bit of the weirder period where some of the eyes are growing, things are growing a little too fast and out of line. And I know this is the preferred thumb.
What the fuck? I'm sorry, this dude's pissing me off. Am I the only one that's mad listening to him? I can't be the only one that is so mad from listening to this dude that I want to punch him in the eyeball. I can't be the only one. He just said the baby looked weird because things was growing too much. The way he talks, she wanted to get up inside you. What the hell is wrong with this man? Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I know. We're gonna get through this one. We're gonna get through this one real quick, like, cause I'm probably gonna skip over some things. Jesus,
thumbnail for the court, but that was when she was looking a little silly. So that was probably back at about April of 2020. This is my parents' living room, where she would come up to this piano over here, and she had a knack, and she would start. I'd be playing piano. I've been playing piano since I was 3 years old, and I would ensconce her and encompass her in all my music, and she would come in the middle near the middle C, and she would start doing things that actually made sense. And then she'd look at you and she'd show you she could have a beat. My older daughter, Eiley, has an immense amount of musical talent, but she could never keep a beat, but she would come up with things. But Naima, Hannah Nicole, she could tell where the beat was. She knew where the beat of life was. She knew where to enter the room. She knew where to look at you. She knew where the camera was.
And are those the cars that you spoke of she enjoyed playing with?
No, these are very little cars that you'd pull and they'd zoom around the room. This is actually a toy that I had going back to when I was a child, and it has a revolver inside, like a revolving scoop, and it goes around, and it's funny, it like collects toys into its dump truck. This is a xylophone that was my sister's over here. Little cup. She rode that little Pumobile behind her everywhere in my parents' house. And she was amazing because sometimes as a mother, you wanted to sleep a little bit more. Chloe would go over, Kui would go over, and she would open the bedroom door and lay back down, and she'd thunder down the hallway. She'd just crawl down because we had this whole area on the second floor, safe, the dogs in the kitchen, the stairs over here blocked, and she had this living room up the hallway to the bedrooms, and you'd hear her, my mom still imagines the beauty of her grandchild thundering down the hallway, crawling thunderously. She'd come and she'd play, and my Eiley couldn't leave her for 3 minutes, even when she was 12, 11 months old. Constant attention, not Hannah Nicole. Hannah Nicole, she got in the living room with her stuff. She'd make a story. You could leave her playing there for 20 minutes. She'd make up a world. She'd put the dolls. She had things that 11 months old, 13 months old, she'd be piling cars. She'd be making a whole story and happily playing. And somebody comes, smile, go over, pet the dogs. This was her world. Everything here, Grandma made the entire house her world. That's why we were there.
Sir, the purpose of this hearing today is to give the court an understanding of sort of the impact of the actions of.
Nobody can weigh the potential of the impact. When you lose Grandma and you lose Grandpa and you are not estranged, you have a life, a rich life lived. You have memories. It's painful. It's a natural process and cycle of life. When you lose a baby, and somebody entitles themselves by whatever precipitation, you can get into the moral philosophy if it is okay or not okay. Do you own your life? Can you take your life? But when you entitle yourself by whatever precipitations, by whatever precipitated your mind, without getting into the weeds, to decide you are entitled to take somebody else's life based on your opinion of whatever kind of mental illness, lack of mental illness, acting, pretending you're in mental illness, overlaying, masking, it doesn't matter. There is no wiggle room where you are entitled to take somebody else's life because of your impression or opinion. They are there to live life and discover what life is for themselves.
I can't watch much more of this man, or I'm going to get angry and want to stab somebody. So we're going to skip over him because that's the whole point for me. And we're gonna I want to get to the see about if we can find the sentencing part. I don't care about what all y'all say. I just want to hear the sentencing. Oh, this is her impact statement. And then I think they do the sentencing right around here somewhere. Let me find it right quick, y'all.
The case because that's what she was instructed to do so. She is allowed to talk to people. She did so at the jail. She didn't talk about the case because that's what we told her not to do. The fact that she didn't say, oh, I'm upset about what happened at trial today, or I'm upset about what happened to Hannah on these phone calls, it has nothing to do with whether or not she was remorseful. And I'm going to say this, and I've kept my mouth shut about this for a very long time. I have an email from Ms. Crawford from February of 2023. Ms. Crawford and the district attorney's office sought out us to sit down and talk to Ms. Driver at the jail in an attempt to work this case out. I take issue with the assertion by the state that we categorically rejected the felony murder, guilty but mentally ill, life with parole option. What we have always strived for in this case was a reduction in the charge that appropriately reflected the mitigation that Ms. Driver suffered, the mental illness aspect of it, but I'll also go back to this email. This was at the request of the state to sit down and talk to. She exercised her right to trial, is affected by this. This history of mental illness argument, Your Honor, I'll reserve.
All right. Ms. Trethewey.
Judge, I just want to be clear, and from what we've talked about, the entire 4 years that this case has been pending, what we talked about at trial, what we're here to talk about again today, is that Chloe Driver has never once disputed the events that occurred on December the 8th of 2020. We've always all agreed that this was nothing short of a tragedy.
I have continued to think about this case after the verdict, as I am sure all of us have. I have been aware that based on the law, that my only real discretion in this case is whether to sentence you to life without parole or life with the possibility of parole. I am aware, as Ms. Trethewey pointed out, that the parole eligibility in this state would dictate that you would serve 30 years of a life sentence before you were considered for parole. This was a heinous offense with evidence that was so graphic and traumatic that I began to do research on what kind of support and help we could give the jurors who were having to consider it. A parent killing a child is something that just offends us on the deepest level. It is a wrong that just is unfathomable. It just cannot be understood. And it scares us because it is so contrary to just fundamental.
Ray, basically, in her defense, she stated that she snapped pretty much. She went crazy. She was having mental issues at the time. She stated that, you know, her, she was having basically because of the cult and stress and all that, she was having, you know, basically she was not in the right mental state, if that makes sense, is what she stated. Now they did, when they convicted her, gave her guilty by way of mental illness. So they did say she had mental illness, but they didn't give her a no guilty, you know, like she wanted. They did find her guilty. She didn't, I will say that she never said she didn't do it. She said she did it, but she also stated she did it because she was crazy, pretty much. She tried to use insanity plea.
Moral behavior and what we expect of the bonds between human beings. And I have all those thoughts. I have had all those thoughts in this case. I noticed throughout the trial and considered it as part of the tragedy, quite honestly, that there were really no family members here to support you, and that Mr. Ben Michael was not here interested in the outcome of what was going to happen to his child, the person who killed his child. That was a very interesting dynamic to me. So I'm glad to see him here today. You don't need to speak to me at this point, sir. Your opportunity to speak has come and gone. Although the response I just heard doesn't do anything to make the whole situation any less tragic. But as I said, I'm glad to have heard from Mr. Ben Michael and to honestly try to give him some benefit of the doubt, understanding that there is an impact.
Y'all know that. Hey, Tay Bay Love. Y'all know that judge is wanting to call him crazier and bad shit. But she got to be professional, so she can't say that. But you know, in her mind, she's thinking, no wonder this lady went crazy. This motherfucker crazier than bad shit. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. That man, oh, I swear to God, he need to be in prison too. I'm just saying. So they need to get him away from everybody. He's one of those mofos that make people drink the Kool-Aid. And the sad part is, my question for that is how? He's trying to use these big words like he's smart, right? Trying to sound so intelligent, but ends up sounding like a dumbass. I don't like that man. I don't like him.
On him that cannot be measured, as he put it. And just again, an impact on the universe. One more child who never goes to school, never gets to have a boyfriend or go to the prom, never gets to decide what a career is. It's they're not words to talk about what a terrible thing it is. But I do also feel bound to consider the fact that if you had succeeded, we would not have been here. We would have read about a tragic, inexplicable murder-suicide. I have to take into account that 3 different psychologists testified as to your profound mental illness, the depths of your sickness, your illness. I have to take into account the fact that the jury found you guilty but mentally ill, because they obviously were aware they had the choice of imposing a different sentence. I sent a different verdict, I'm sorry, a verdict of guilty that did not reference any of your mental illness. Georgia law, Georgia statute means that the guilty but mentally ill verdict gives the Department of Corrections some direction and some ability to continue to provide treatment for you, but that is in their discretion. There's no black and white law as to how a judge is to consider that verdict. I will note that the jury found that you did not meet the criteria of not guilty by reason of insanity. The law in Georgia has been the same for about 200 years now. Whether or not that ever changes because of changes in medical and societal understanding of mental illness and how to treat it, I do not know. The intersection between law and medicine can be, well, it does not always mesh well. Things evolve. We now have treatment courts for people with mental illness and addiction, substance use issues, and but I do think under everything that I heard, the sentence needs to take into account the possibility that in 30 years, there may be different treatment modalities, different recommendations, different possibilities for your rehabilitation. I think the notion that you are cured because you're taking medication regularly now is something that I don't accept. I believe everyone acknowledges that, or at least based on the law and the testimony we heard in this case, that borderline personality disorder, for example, is a deep sickness that is not treated just by medication, for example. You were treated in order for you to gain competency to be able to actually go to trial. I don't think anybody who's dealt with anybody with mental illness is naive enough to suggest that you're cured. And I know I don't mean that as a criticism or a punishment. It's just reality. You did a horrible thing. But based on the evidence at trial and based on particularly the mental health testimony, the court will impose the following sentence as to count 1, malice murder, life in prison with the possibility of parole. Count 2 and count 3 are vacated as a matter of law in that you cannot be sentenced to more than one murder count when there is only one victim. Count 4 merges into count 1. I agree with the state that count 5 does not merge into count 1 as it contains a different element. That is that the victim is a child under the age of 18. That is not an element of malice murder specifically. So as to count 5, the court imposes a sentence of 20 years to serve in the state prison system concurrent with count 1. You have a right to appeal this conviction. You have a right to file a motion for new trial, requesting other post-judgment relief. You must file.
Okay, we done with that. Sorry, y'all, for y'all who may or may not, some of y'all may love the trials and everything. Some people may think this one was a little harsh. In this situation, she basically got life in prison. The 20 years is run concurrent, which means that she will serve the time while she's doing the life sentence. Now, if it was consecutive, that would be different. That would be like she would get 30 years plus 20 years, which would be 50, right? Concurrent means you're running it at the same time. And they are legal terminologies, you know what I'm saying? But basically, that's what happened with Chloe Driver. And she was it's called the cult baby murder trial. Because that crazy dude we heard talking, Ben Yaham dude, and that ain't his real name. Speaking of which, that's the name he chose to change himself to. Okay, this dude was a straight up cult leader. Straight up cult leader. He's got polygamous wives and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he's supposedly, yeah, he crazy. And they did say that this lady had crazy moments. But here's my thing. I'm like you, Ray. Why hurt the baby? Why hurt the baby? Why not just take yourself out this world? Why not take your baby over to your mama's house and sign over custody to your mama? If you know that you ain't in your right mind to take care of your baby, right? Why not take your baby to your mama's house, get your baby away from this man? You know what I'm saying? Get your baby with your mama, sign over your rights, do what you got to do. Don't hurt your baby. You know what I'm saying? Take yourself out this world. Don't take the baby out this world. The baby didn't deserve all that. I'm with you on that one, Ray. Take yourself out. Don't be doing that to no innocent child. Like, nah, bro. But I'm glad that she did get sentenced. She deserves her punishment. You know what I'm saying? And whether you want to look at this as mental illness, they did say that she did have, and now that she's medicated, she knows she's in her right mind. But she did snap a few times before this. And that man, Ben Yaham, whatever, and all the people around her didn't think to take the baby away from her. Yet he lived with his mom because the motherfucker can't keep a job in a house of his own. So he's a piece of shit anyway. But he got all these women and babies but can't take care of them. Anyway, why didn't nobody think to take the baby if you knew she was having mental health crises? Like, come on now. Because there's an instance, if you're watching this trial, where one of the dudes from the cult, he sits there and he testifies. And he says before this situation happened, she had tried to snap before then. So why didn't nobody try to get her mental health even before then? Let me explain to you why. Because they were the type that thought that medical professionals didn't know what was right and they could cure anything, even mental illness. So that's why she was not medicated. That's why she was going crazy. That's why she was having crazy ideologies and all this other stuff. Because it was one of them crazy ass cults. You know, the ones like they have in those cults where, people pass away from cancer and all this other stuff because they don't go get medical help. Because they be thinking the medical professionals are out to get them. That's what kind of cult this was, y'all. This was the kind of cult where the dude basically wanted to be Charlie Manson and Jim Jones. That's exactly what kind of cult he's trying to start. And hopefully, even though this baby is gone and she's no longer with us, maybe this will bring light to him and keep people from joining him now that they see the truth about this motherfucker. So I'm sorry, y'all. I'm cursing up a storm. I didn't like him. I ain't like him. I ain't like him. Mm-mm. That man made me mad. That man made me angry. Ooh, sweet baby Jesus. I wanted to smack him upside the head, but maybe that's just me. We're gonna go over here and we're gonna switch over to our Friday content. I just had to share that update. Because, you know, I gotta make sure I stay on top of my trials and stuff. But if anybody has any, which recently I will say that Jay Dizzle did reach out with another trial for us to watch. But if you have a trial that you want to watch, and it don't have to be murder trial, it could be any trial, as long as we can find the information on the internet, right? We will go over it and we will deep dive through it and all that stuff. If you have a specific mystery or something you want to look into, make sure you leave me a comment under this video, and we will make sure that it is looked into. So this one right here is an actual Today Show article. It says 17 real ghost stories that chill you to the bone. The Grandmas in the Cemetery. That's the name of the first story. Jeff, a resident of Dayton, Ohio, was driving with his 3-year-old son, Miles, in the back seat when they passed by a modest cemetery decorated with only flowers and small plaques. It basically looks like a giant garden, Jeff explains on the podcast Monsters Among Us. According to Jeff, as they drove by, his toddler, who had been happily singing, abruptly stopped, pointed to the cemetery, and exclaimed, "Look at all those people." Jeff turned to look but didn't see a soul. Confused, he asked Miles what he was talking about. He said, "All those people over there," his son replied. "There are a lot of grandmas." As Jeff tells it, chills ran down his spine as he asked his son what the people were doing. "They are all standing there looking down at the grass," Miles said. Completely unsettled by this conversation, Jeff sped up and drove home. Later that same day, he says his young son was watching TV when he turned to Jeff and said, "You know, they weren't alive." Thinking Miles was referring to the cartoon, Jeff asked what he meant. "Those people we saw, they were all paused," his son said. "I don't know if my kid has a sixth sense or if he is just a wild imagination." The Ghost of the Stanley Hotel. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado has been around for more than 100 years and was built as a posh getaway for the wealthy seeking solitude in the mountains. As the years passed, however, occupancy declined, and by the 1970s, the Grand Hotel had fallen into disrepair. It was around that time that famed author Stephen King spent the night there and was inspired to write the book The Shining. The book and the blockbuster film helped return the Stanley to its former glory. Now guests come in droves to see the hotel that inspired one of the scariest horror movies of all time. Given its history, it should come as no surprise that many visitors report strange happenings. Aware of the ghostly rumors, Texas resident Henry Yao booked a last-minute getaway in April of 2016 to check it out. After arriving, Stanley had dinner, then wandered around. Not Stanley. What is his first name? Because I can't say it. Henry. Oh, y'all, I just did that. After arriving, Henry had dinner, then wandered around the Stanley to take photos. Stopping at the staircase, he waited for people to clear the area, then took a picture, thinking nothing of it. Later that night, however, Henry fell seriously ill. "I felt really sick. I had the shivers. I was like, something's really wrong," he tells Today.com. His companion suggested to go to the emergency room, but Henry refused. On the trip home, Henry began swiping through the photos he had taken when he discovered what he said was a really, really strange image of someone standing on the stairs, except no one had been there. The next day, he posted the photo on Instagram, half joking that he had captured a ghost, and the world took notice. Almost overnight, Henry found himself in the limelight with this ghost picture, warranting attention from global media outlets and paranormal experts who wanted to examine the photo. Some experts say there's two ghosts, and other people said that the reason I got sick is because the ghost was trying to materialize, taking energy out of me. He said, "There's so many theories about this." And what does Henry think? I have no idea, he says with a laugh. Good morning, Miss LaKendra. Good morning. We're reading some freaky, spooky, scary stories right now. The Whaley House hauntings. If there is no such thing as a ghost, then explain the supernatural incidents at San Diego's Whaley's House, a destination dubbed America's most haunted house. I have definitely been present when people claim they're hearing things, smell things, and in some cases even see apparitions, says Victor Santana, operations manager at the Whaley House and Museum. Widely known for its unexplained occurrences, the historical house was built in 1856 by Thomas Whaley, a former New Yorker who came west during the gold rush. It's quite possible Whaley got a sweet deal on the land, given it was once home to the San Diego gallows, a place where countless criminals were executed. Though he doesn't know exactly how many people died at the site, Santana said one prisoner stands out. Yankee Jim Robinson was executed on site after he stole a boat, says the Whaley House manager. Legend says that Thomas Whaley was actually a witness to the execution. Whether it is true or not, Santana says that Whaley reported hauntings happening in his house in the years that followed, citing heavy footsteps going up and down the stairs while he worked in his office. He would also sometimes hear a man grunting, if you will, and he would attribute that to Yankee Jim Robinson, he said. After dying of natural causes, Whaley is said to have become a ghost himself at the house, with some visitors claiming to smell the cigars he enjoyed smoking. Or you might even see him at the top of the staircase looking down on you, says Santana. Other mysterious occurrences at the Whaley House include the unexplained scent of lavender in the air, attributed to Whaley's wife's perfume, as well as possible ghosts of the Whaley family's pets. You might feel something brushing up against your leg, even licking your leg in some cases, and they believe that's the family dog, says Santana. Has Santana ever actually seen an apparition there? I've never seen a ghost, he confirms. However, he has had a couple of odd experiences, including seeing a doll that seemingly appeared to move on its own once. Occasionally, he heard a woman's voice crying late at night. Santana was also present during a paranormal investigation at the site in which an EVP, electronic voice recorder used by investigators, picked up something utterly spine-chilling. You set up a recorder and you ask questions like, "Is anybody in the room with us? What is your name?" So one of the questions was, "Are you happy that we are here with you tonight?" explains Santana. And when you play back the recording, you hear somebody say, "No." Hey, JB, Mr. Longwitted. Well, you be careful. You have a good day at the dentist's office and whatnot. I got to take my son to the dentist today too. He's got another appointment. Pretty much, yeah, he'll have 2 more before the end of the to get everything done. And I know he's ready to have it over with. But they only work on so much at a time with kids specifically. So we're having to deal with that today and everything. And we're going to be going to take care of that in a little bit. And then he'll probably have another appointment like Monday or Tuesday, and that'll be his last one for a while. And then he'll obviously have his checkup, But yeah, they're taking care of his cavity situation, which his cavities aren't bad, but you still got to take care of them. Make sure that you're good to go. And he's make sure his dental work is done. He's a kid. He's actually did pretty good at his brushing his teeth, though. I'm so surprised about that because him being a teen boy. But he's very of a neat freak of a teen boy, so I'm proud of that one. The hauntings at the Lizzie Borden house. Now, we all know the Lizzie Borden story, right? All of us know Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her, what's the saying? Gave her was it gave her mother or her father 40 whacks? Lizzie, because I'm trying to remember it, y'all. Poem. Oh yes, here it is. It's the rhyme. It's this one right here, y'all. We've all heard this before. I'm gonna share this tab instead. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. We've all heard that one, right? I mean, it was on a lot of horror movies and stuff. Excuse me, y'all. It was on a lot of horror movies. You know, the Lizzie Borden had an axe. One, what horror? It was on Supernatural has done it. A lot of different, paranormal investigators have went over there to the Lizzie Borden house. Some people say when it comes down to the Lizzie Borden mystery, right? Some people think that it wasn't true about Lizzie Borden, and that, and then some people believe it was, because some people, if you really deep dive into Lizzie Borden herself, it was never really proven per se. So it was crazy because some people believe, that others, she was suspected, but she was actually acquitted, on August the 4th, 1892. And that was her father and stepmother. That's what a lot of people also don't know. It was not her, the her real mother, and then she also had her older sister. She had, but her real mother actually passed away, and that's why he married the stepmother or whatnot. But there was also like rumors that somebody else that was in the area could have done it at the time. And Lizzie walked in and found them that way. So it depends on what you believe about the Lizzie Borden case. When you go to actually look it up and deep dive into it. But obviously, they say the house is haunted like a mofo, and you can go visit it. It's in Falls River, Massachusetts. On August the 4th, 1892, Andrew and his wife, Abby Borden, were found brutally murdered in their Fall River, Massachusetts home. Though murder wasn't uncommon in the late 1800s, the fact that they were bludgeoning to death with an axe and the main suspect was the 32-year-old daughter, Lizzie Borden, certainly was. The crime and trial that followed made headlines around the world. Lizzie was ultimately acquitted of the murder, but she remains forever linked to the heinous killings, as does the home where the crime was committed. Now, a bed and breakfast museum, the Borden home attracts history buffs, thrill seekers who come to see for themselves, and rumors that the house is haunted are indeed true. But you can literally, you've never heard about the Lizzie Borden, Miss LaKendra? Oh, we got to deep dive into Lizzie Borden then, because the Lizzie Borden, it happened in the 1800s, right? And Lizzie Borden herself, was not married at the time or whatever. And there's like contradictory things, that some say Lizzie did it because, there's theories, right? Some people say it because, you know, um, there was abuse in the home and the stepmother was evil, and some people, there's so many different things about Lizzie. And then they say, um, you know, there was rumors that Lizzie might have been a lesbian. Uh, there was speculation, you know, then supposedly her sister said that on her confession, in her says Sullivan, um, there's no such speculation about her sister, but her sister allegedly gave a deathbed confession to her, in which she stated that she had changed her testimony on the stand in order to protect Lizzie. Then there's another person named John Morris, who was a suspect in the case, which was Lizzie's maternal uncle. That because he slept in the house the night before. That was Lizzie's uncle by her mother, who passed away. A man named William Borden, suspected to be Andrew's illegitimate son, was noted as a suspect. Emma Borden, although Emma had an alibi at Fairhaven, about 15 miles from Fall River, crime writer Frank Sperenberg proposed in his 1984 book Lizzie that she might have secretly visited the residence to kill her parents before returning to Fairhaven in time to receive the telegram informing her of the murders. I mean, because there's speculation if Lizzie did it or if Lizzie didn't. So basically, the mother and father were found bludgeoned to death with an axe. And that's why, I'm going to say this. If Lizzie didn't do it, it's crazy, because if you look her up, all you're going to find about her a lot of the times is that, right? And so it's put on her back even if she didn't do it. We really don't know back in those times. They didn't have some of the things that we have today to be able to help solve crimes. The way they did it back then was who was around, who had motive, and who had the ability to do it. And obviously too much time has passed for anybody to try to find any physical evidence whatsoever. Now that we do have DNA and all that, there was no evidence collected back then. They may have collected the murder weapon, but that's probably about it. They didn't have swabs to do the blood and all this other things like we have nowadays. They didn't have DNA. They didn't have, stuff like that. They didn't even, the most they took pictures of the crime scene usually was where the body was found. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes they didn't even take pictures of the rest of the house, just where like the body itself was found. And that was if they were lucky to do that. That's why so many innocent people technically did go to prison back in those days. And sometimes not innocent people got sent to prison. Or got let loose. Not sent to prison, they got let loose. So they got off on the crime because there wasn't enough evidence, right? So back in those days, convicted criminals would get people who actually murdered someone could get off on it because if there wasn't enough evidence and it was circumstantial, if they could make up an alibi and get somebody else to say, no, they were with me all night, then they would get away with it. And that's the crazy part about it. But yeah, the Lizzie Borden, I'm gonna have to take a note of that. Miss LaKendra, about Lizzie Borden, and one day we're gonna do a Lizzie Borden deep dive. Because it's actually a really cool I'm still gonna also do the Son of Sam too. We were talking about doing the Son of Sam. And there was one more. Oh yeah, I did a part on the Long Island serial killer, but and I did go over his case, but I was talking about doing one for the Son of Sam, and I think some of the older things like that, right? But the Lizzie Borden case is actually pretty crazy. And she's been, if you watch Supernatural, the TV show, she was in it. She was in quite a few like horror movies in general. There's actual movies just based on Lizzie Borden. Um, she's been used in reference in a lot of scary paranormal things. Um, it's crazy about the full case of Lizzie Borden. You know, in the house, you can go visit it. Um, that there is literally a bed and breakfast and a museum, and a lot of this is the house right here, and a lot of the people who visit actually do paranormal investigators with it, and they say that you can hear, like, obviously there was more land with this back in the day. Neighbors wasn't as close, so things have changed over the centuries, but the house itself still stands. And then they have the ghost of Captain Joseph White, and that is literally the house. And they say that an image was captured in front of the Garden Pingree House in Salem, Massachusetts. And we all know about the Salem witch trials. Women, a woman back then, if you knew math or colors, it's a witch. She must be a witch. I wonder if you got, like, for somebody who just like cooked really good food, and you put like a different kind of spice in your food. I wonder if they accused you of being a witch or witchcraft for just cooking really bomb ass food. Because back then there was a lot of ways you just get called a witch just because somebody didn't like you during the Salem witch trials. You didn't have to have no evidence or nothing. They just claimed something on you back in those days. Do you know how many women passed away during the Salem witch trials because their husbands wanted new wives, or, got tired of their wife being unruly or whatever, and literally accused her of being a witch so they could basically become a widow to remarry? That's the craziest part about the Salem witch trial, that it was a manhunt, and it was literally, if you didn't like your neighbor, you could claim they was a witch and get them burned at the stake. And all you had to have is one other person to stand up with you. So, I mean, you could quite literally, if two husbands didn't like their wives, they could stand up with each other. I heard them conspiring. You know what I'm saying? If you look into the Salem witch trial, it's crazy, y'all. Though Salem, Massachusetts is best known for its famous witch trials, there have been plenty of other chilling stories throughout its 400-year history. One of them is the tale of Captain Joseph White, a wealthy merchant who was found bludgeoned to death in his bed. It was a crime motivated by money, according to Giovanni Alaboso, owner and tour guide of Salem Historical Tours, who says the 82-year-old merchant was allegedly targeted by greedy brothers hoping to get their hands on his will. Brothers Joseph and Francis Knapp enlisted the help of Richard Crowninshield to help get the job done. Late in the evening, when Captain White is asleep, Dick Crowninshield came in, and he goes upstairs to the second floor and takes a club and bashes the captain over the head and crushes his skull. The murder resulted in a scandalous trial. It is said to be the inspiration for Edgar Allan Poe's The Tall Heart, as well as the game Clue. Whether it is a brutal nature of the crime or revenge for the attempt to steal his money, the spirit of Captain Joseph White is said to still wander the halls of his former home. People believe Captain White is roaming around the house protecting whatever treasure he reportedly has. Tourists take photos of the house, and despite being empty, many pictures reveal a shadowy figure, both male and female, in the windows on the landing of the Gardner Pingree house. Who are they? No one knows. It's definitely absolutely active. The haunting ventriloquist doll. Y'all, that's a freaky ass looking doll right there. I know. I gotta scroll past that. I can't be looking at that, y'all. I be done had nightmares about a ventriloquist doll just messing with me and shit. When Marty was a child back in the 90s, she tells Monsters Among Us that she was a fan of ventriloquist Edgar Bergen and his dummy sidekick, Charlie McCarthy. She says that when her father came across a ventriloquist doll as he wandered through a small magic shop located outside of Santa Rosa, California, he decided to buy it for her birthday. While ringing up the sale, Marty says the cashier gave her father weird vibes and said to him, "You know when you put your hand inside the doll, he's going to come alive." Laughing off the comment, he bought the dummy home to his daughter. According to Marty, she was over the moon when her dad gave her the doll. "I was so happy when I got the doll. I was obsessed." But before long, strange things began happening through impossible because the doll's head was made of hard plastic. She says its expression would change, including his smile. Worried something would happen to her precious dummy, Marty's family shut it away in a cupboard most nights. One night, she and her family were awakened by a pitter-patter of steps in the living room, thinking it was a dog or another family member. They went to look. No one was there, except for the doll, who was sitting on the couch. "We remember specifically, we always put it away because I love that doll so much that I took care of it," Marty says on the podcast. Other strange occurrences began happening. While Marty and her dad were away, her uncle was alone in the house. The uncle says he heard Marty's father calling his name from the living room, even though he wasn't home. When he went to look, he found the doll once again sitting on the couch and no one else. "All of our family was pretty much scared of the doll," Marty says. "People would start hearing their names being called and we would hear walking at night, so we just decided we needed to get rid of it." Being Mexican and religious, Marty says her parents wanted to burn the doll in case it was demonic. They put it on the grill, and according to Marty, it wouldn't burn. This doll would not go up in flames at all whatsoever. They tried cutting it up with a knife, but were unsuccessful. Finally, they threw it in the trash can. After the garbage was collected, Marty's dad went to retrieve the bin. In it, the doll. To rid themselves of the dummy, they dug a hole in the backyard, then filled it with cement. Marty and family have long since moved away, but she says that they still think about the doll and the possibility that eventually it finds one of us. That's a creepy story right there. They buried that doll in damn concrete, y'all. You know you got to be scared of a doll to sit there and try to bury that doll in concrete. You know you got to be freaked out a little bit. This story right here is called The Imaginary Friend. Jacqueline from Oklahoma says that while her memories have faded over the years, she recalls having an imaginary friend when she was young. Her grandparents, Granny June and Papa Hank, lived in a small home with a quiet backyard. Jacqueline recalls visiting them as a child. "I have very good memories of my Papa Hank," Jacqueline says on the podcast Monsters Among Us. "He would sit under the tree with me and tell me stories. The stories were often about his life and memories of prohibition," she says. He was actually a very interesting character. The only problem? Her grandfather died in 1981, and Jacqueline was born in 1982. "I don't think I ever realized I was getting stories from a ghost," she says, adding that the rest of her family knew of his presence in the house. "My Granny June would never stay in the house on the anniversary of his death. She said he did die in the house." Jacqueline also recalls hearing Papa Hank get up in the middle of the night when she was staying at the house. "It never occurred to me that those were memories of an entity," she said. In hindsight, Jacqueline says that even though her childhood imaginary friend was actually her dead grandfather, it cast a different light because it was a relative and not a stranger. "It never felt like a ghost. It felt like talking to my Papa Hank." That's crazy. Could you imagine if you found out that the person you was talking to as a kid and you had memories of, and you didn't realize that person was passed away when you got older, and somebody had to tell you, like you thought they was really there? Could you imagine that? You're like, "No, I really talked to them. We were sitting there, we had conversations all the time." And then all of a sudden they tell you, "No, they've passed away before you were ever born." You're like, "What?" That would be crazy. Then we got this one, The Kidnapping Ghost. On Monsters Among Us, a caller named Joe tells of moving to a Georgia in California late 1990s. Soon after, he says his brother followed him to the Peach State and rented an old house built in the 1800s. It looked nice from the outside. It did not feel good from the inside. Joe says during the podcast. According to Joe, things seemed off from the moment he helped his brother move into the home. I walked into the house and went, oh man, the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I just felt ill at ease. Like this place isn't cool at all, he says. Moments later, while carrying items into the bedroom, Joe says he heard whispering. A heated whispering, almost an argument between two people that seemed to be hovering in the top of the ceiling area of the room, he adds. Joe ran out of the room and asked his brother if he felt something off about the house, too. His brother had picked up on the vibe, but assured Joe that things would be all right. As long as you're good, Joe says he told his brother. I'm not good, but I'm going to help you. I'm going home. I probably won't come back here. And sure enough, Joe's brother began experiencing unusual occurrences in the house. The most alarming, however, was when Joe said his young niece was found wandering alone on a busy road with her hand up in the air. Police and other agencies were called to investigate the incident, and when asked, his brother's 4-year-old explained that she had gone for a stroll with the old lady that lives here. She just wanted to go for a walk, so we went for a walk. Given that the front door was too heavy for a 4-year-old to open by herself, no one could understand how she was able to leave the house. According to Joe, his niece said the old lady opened the door, and then we petted the dog for a little bit and then went for a walk. She was so genuine and honest at 4 years old that he couldn't recall her a liar, Joe said during the podcast. Soon after, his brother moved and never returned. I mean, I would move out too, child. Hey, King Kush, it's good to see you. I would move out of that house too. I wouldn't be staying there. The ghost of Stone's Public House. Considering one of the most haunted restaurants in America, Stone's Public House in Ashland, Massachusetts doesn't have a ghost problem. It has a ghost problem. Ghosts, multiple S's. Janet Morenzi, a longtime resident of Ashland, is the bartender and manager of Stone's Public House, which was built by John Stone back in 1832. According to Merzarani, even before she began working at the inn, she heard stories of the ghost of a young boy roaming the halls of the restaurant, which once served as an ad hoc hospital during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. It makes sense, Merzarani tells Today. That's where they would quarantine all the sick people, she explains. Apparently, quite a few souls have passed just due to that. The inn is also the site for other untimely deaths, including that of a young girl who was struck and killed by a train while she played near the railroad tracks before bordering the property. According to Merzarani, a father and son visited the inn, stepped outside the restaurant to watch the trains. After coming back inside, Merzarani overheard the father reassuring his young son that there wasn't anyone else outside, despite the son insisting he had seen a little girl sitting beside them. He's like, she was sitting right there next to me. She was crying. You didn't see the little girl? And the dad said there was nobody there. It was just me and you, buddy, Merzarani recalls. Other ghosts are said to haunt the old inn, including that of proprietor John Stone, who Merzarani says didn't actually die there, but is believed to be watching over the place. One night when Merzarani was alone at the inn, she says she heard footsteps walking directly above her on the second floor. I was just like, there's no explanation for that whatsoever. I'm leaving. She tells Today.com. Still, she doesn't believe that the spirits have bad intentions. I've never had that scary hair on the back of your neck, get out of here, get out of the building feeling there. The unexpected passenger. The Queen Mary. I've heard about the Queen Mary story, Miss Kendra. It is. I've heard that it is definitely haunted. Now we were talking about local places next to me. When I used to live in Monroe County, there is a museum there that at one time it was the hospital. It was the original hospital, and also it was a mental hospital at one point. It has a long history. It was a hospital during the Civil War. It's called the Amory Museum, pretty much. If you look at Amory, Mississippi, that place is haunted. They have an old train car, which they've since moved to the back, but it used to be on the side. There used to be an apartment in front of it. That apartment since has been demolished. Basically it was a house, but you know how They split the house in half, and one side is one side, one side is the other. Well, we lived in one side of it, right? And you could see straight across to the hotel because we had these like beautiful windows that were very beautiful, right? And when you sat there on a cloudy, like when it was foggy night, you could see like somebody walking around with look like an old school lantern, right? And you can see them walking around. You can see people walking up on the second story balcony. And if you looked at the train car, you literally could see people sitting in the seats. And they've removed some of the seats now. So there's people sitting in seats that aren't there anymore. And you can see the trolley person going up and down and back and forth. And people have seen like nurses, people who look like nurses. They don't wear the nurses' outfit they wear today. And the old Carlton Courthouse. And there's also a house in Aberdeen, King Kush, that my mother and father both moved into at different times of their and stages of their life. And the old lady owned this house, and the house is still standing. It's over there, not far from the courthouse, the not the big courthouse in the middle of town, the federal courthouse. It's not far from the AMVETS over there. And this house, there was an old lady who owned it. The story goes that she did not want the highway to come in front of her house. You know, they were trying to get people's land and get people to sign off on putting the highway through there. And she did not want the highway near her house. And she was trying to fight it tooth and nail. They ended up putting the highway through there anyway. It was the old highway. And she quite literally cursed the house. And they say that if you move in, like, everybody who said that they moved in there, it's not a ghost like you're thinking. Like, there's some kind of beast that is haunting this house. People literally put boards, like big boards, on the back door with 16 penny nails and boarded down the windows of this house. And everybody who moves into it has like almost like a Bigfoot type thing attack the house, and they leave everything they own in this house. Like, a lot of people think it's really cool that the house comes furnished, but you don't know the reasons behind it if you don't know the story. And the house is still standing today. It's extremely messed up what happens at that house, and extremely haunted. And they say the old lady cursed the house. And then there's another one that's in Amory. It's Antebellum in Amory, and they say that the walls bleed. And a lot of the local residents will tell you about it. You know, that's the crazy thing about these ghost stories. We all know places that locals will tell you, man, I wouldn't even go there. Y'all saw a little girl at the bar downstairs eating ice cream when y'all were there for y'all's high school winter formal. Woo-wee. There are many places like that, King Kush. You know, if you go down the Natchez Trace Parkway, people have experienced stuff there. You can actually walk the trail of the original Trail of Tears. People have experienced stuff there. The Witches Dance. There's many buildings that are still here that were from the Civil War, and from different like mental hospitals and things like that are extremely haunted. It's a lot of history in a lot of those buildings too. The Amory Museum itself, though, is really cool to visit if you ever have a chance. And the people there are really awesome. You don't have to pay any fee to go in there. But if you would like to donate to them, they do not mind accepting donations to keep the building running and all that. But obviously, you know, you don't have to pay to go in there. It is a museum. You just sign in with your little name and where you're from. Because they like to keep a book of who's visited the museum, you know. And then you just walk around. They even have a gift shop. It's really cool. They have a canoe there that's like from when the American Indians, the Native Americans, And that canoe is old as crap. Y'all should really go see it. It's really cool. But there's a lot of places around here in Mississippi. You know that, King Kush. Columbus has some of the most haunted historical homes. A lot of those historical homes in Columbus, those 2-story out of bounds, they haunted as shit. They are haunted. But yeah, so we literally have a lot of places like that down here, you know. This story right here, I think we have a few more stories here. They have this one's called The Unexpected Passenger. We've heard about the stories of people just randomly showing up in people's cars or being on the sides of the roads. This one's called the Shawshank Penitentiary. Now, the Shawshank Penitentiary was actually the Ohio State Reformatory was actually a thing, even though we know about the movie. Obviously, it was a real place. A lot of movies do kind of are based on something true, even if it's not fully true. The Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio, is widely known for being the location of the classic movie, The Shawshank Redemption. But the old penitentiary, which was shut down in 1990, also has a reputation for being haunted. Home of some of the most hardened criminals, the maximum security prison was once the site of murders, suicides, and other violent encounters, according to Teresa Argy, author and paranormal investigator known as the Haunted Housewife. The reformatory has had this incredible vein of violence that ran through, though it's almost from the beginning. You can imagine why a place like that would be haunted, she says. There's something negative there. You could just feel it in your bones. And there are, in fact, plenty of ghost stories from the old prison. We ran into female spirits there, which I thought was incredibly interesting, Argy said. One of them, she says, is likely the wife of a former warden who was accidentally shot and killed while pulling a box down from a closet shelf. According to Argy, they've captured recordings of a woman crying and on occasion smell rose perfume in the bedroom. Another spirit that is said to haunt this reformatory is a woman who sits in the prison's chapel and cries. When you approach this woman sitting in the pew, she disappears. Other people have seen her walking. Then there's the malevolent presence there. According to Argy, and with the help of a medium, she says she communicated with it. He would literally be cussing at me. While their session with the anger ghost was unnerving, it wasn't until he followed Argy's partner home that they were truly terrified. One day she saw him through a reflection of her window. She saw this thing in the back, the shadow figure, and she knew it was him. After seeking the help of paranormal experts, Argy says that we haven't seen him since. The phantom ambulance lights. In the mid-90s, Robert worked as a paramedic in a small Texas town and tells his story of a strange happening that he and his partner experienced an on-call one night. After receiving a call from a female having chest pains, he and his partner climbed into the ambulance and made their way to the address. We took off code 3, which means using our emergency lights and sirens. In the absence of GPS back then, Robert says that they relied on maps and mailbox numbers to guide them to rural locations. The address we were going to was a very rural one, so there was no street lights and it was a very dark night. So it was very difficult to read the mailboxes. As they searched for the correct driveway, Robert says he turned off the siren. After determining they found it, they pulled in, only to discover they were mistaken. So we turned off the emergency lights as we backed up to the road and went to the correct driveway. Upon arriving at the scene, the paramedics realized that they had been at the exact same address the month prior for a male suffering from cardiac arrest. In typical medical black humor fashion, we mentioned to each other that this was probably the wife who was now having a heart attack and that was now going to join her husband. They jumped from the ambulance, bags in tow, and began treating the woman who fortunately ended up being all right. Robert says he sent his partner to get the stretcher from the ambulance so they could take her to the hospital for evaluation. When he returned, he had this strange, questioning look on his face. According to Robert, the pair wheeled the patient onto the emergency vehicle And that's when Robert saw the ambulance had nearly every light it was equipped with turned on. Strobe lights, floodlights, some interior lights, everything on. After taking the patient to the hospital, Robert asked his partner why he turned on all the lights. He hadn't. In fact, he reminded Robert that they had shut them all off after going to the wrong address. Neither of us recall reactivating the emergency lights, strobes, or floodlights when we arrived at the house. There was no real reason to do so. We had already gotten there. In the end, we wrote it off as her dead husband letting her know that he was still there. That would be a crazy one. Hey, D Miss O. Hey, love. We're talking about spooky, scary stories this morning. And we did go over Chloe Driver. She did get sentenced this morning. Or yesterday morning. She got sentenced with life with the possibility of parole. Pretty much. So the cult baby mother lady, and then you got to go watch. I played a little bit of it here on the live this morning. If you wanted to red ball, the Benham dude, actually testified and gave a victim statement, and he sounded crazy as shit. I don't know if you saw that, but he sounded like he wasn't all there in his brain. He wasn't right in his mind. Chow. He was not right in his mind. But, we like our ghost stories, I'm going to stop sharing. We like our ghost stories, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to, you got to watch, the crazy person, the Miss-O, the crazy Benham dude. I kind of got angry at him and couldn't watch the rest of what he said because, I wanted to punch him in the eye. Uh, looked like he didn't wash his hair. He kept saying weird stuff like the baby would get inside of you. He kept saying like the baby looked weird at parts of her life because her head didn't grow or her eyes didn't grow with her head. It was weird. He was weird. So if you get a chance to watch that, I would totally watch that over to you. And then was talking about we was gonna eventually bring up the Lizzie Borden case. Because if you know anything about the Lizzie Borden case, there's a lot of speculation around whether or not Lizzie Borden actually did that. It's a whole thing. But anyway, y'all, I'm gonna drop this link for anybody who wants to come up, and then I do have to get off here. Well, the CEO guy, I'm gonna say this right now, it's gonna be hard for them to find a jury that's gonna be unbiased in that situation and actually convict him, and I'm gonna explain to you why. If you think about it, right? When somebody hurts people and takes advantage of people, they're gonna say some people are gonna justify that killing. Regardless, if a lot of people don't understand when it comes to, yes, the CEO is scamming money and stealing, but it's not just him who makes those decisions. They have a whole board of directors. They have all these people. Like, the CEO is the one that takes the rep for everything when shit goes bad, right? But technically, a lot of times the board is the one that really makes the decisions in things. And they actually have like different boards. You have the board that is over the thing. Then they have a medical board that's over the decisions on whether they're going to pay for certain medical treatments or not. They have a billing department. They have different departments within it, right? So it's a little crazy. But yeah, I'm going to, it's a lot. Like, a lot of people don't understand that. It is going to be a hard conviction because, how many relatives or people, elderly people who didn't get the health care that they deserved, and they have to pick and choose which medications that they get filled per month. So that kind of story is going to touch a lot of people's hearts, and I don't know if they're going to be able to convict this guy. And then some people were saying that they might take this trial to China, but I don't think they could move this trial out of the United States. I may be wrong, but has a trial ever been moved out of the United States that I know of? A murder trial? Like, have y'all ever heard of a murder trial being switched to another country? I don't think so. Now, when it comes to white collar crimes, I've heard of some of those being switched around. Yeah, they cannot do that. But it is going to be very hard for them, no matter what state or area they try to move that trial to. It's going to be hard for them to find a jury that will convict him. Now you may find some unbiased people who are willing to listen to all the facts. You may be able to find those people, but it's going to be a very hard jury selection. Let me say it that way. Because this case has gained national attention. Once a case has gained national attention and people have made up their minds, it's going to be very hard to be unbiased in the situation. So that's the only reason I also say, I did hear some people say that though, Miss Kendra. I was like, what is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, you must not know how the justice system works. That is not the way this works. That's not the way any of this works. But I am fixing to get ready in a minute to get off here and go start my day. My son has an appointment today for his teeth again. Gonna make sure that he has a good, eats good before and everything, and brushes his teeth out again. He's got to have. Basically, they're only doing two. He had soft cavities all in the back of his jaw teeth because of his acid reflux. And so what they're doing is they're not like putting a full blown cap on there. They're just putting like that composite stuff in the center, if that makes sense. And so he's having to have 2 done at a time, and it's 2 on the left side, 2 on the right side, top, bottom. And so we're having to deal with that right now. But hey, once this is done, he'll be good for a while. And we won't have to worry about it no more. So we got to do what we got to do as parents. And then, take care of this situation and everything. And before we get out of here, I do want to say again to rest in peace to Quay Quay. We love you, girl. We're sending our love. If you would like to donate to the Flower Fund, King ZX is doing that on his channel. You can cash app $ Grown Folk TV. Grown Folks TV. And, send a little something to help with the flower arrangement. Tuesday, he is going to be doing a live where we choose the flower arrangement. Oh, Miss LaKendra, I hope your baby. Excuse me, y'all. Sneeze just hit me out of nowhere. I hope your baby feels better. Pepto, we all know Pepto kind of works for that. If they keep throwing up, if you have to take them to the doctor, the ER, we all know a Finnegan shot will help with that. I hope that they feel better. And many huggies, Miss LaKendra. And make sure that, if you need us, reach out to someone. If you just want to, talk or something, I'm always here. And I hope that your baby feels better soon, because we all know how that sucks when a baby is sick and throwing up. And so I hope that she feels better, Miss LaKendra. I know we all hate when we have sick babies, and it don't matter if they, like with mine's supposed to be 17 this year. I don't care if he's 17, he's still going to be my baby. I don't care if they're 21, 22, 25, 30, they're still going to be a baby to me. My mama still calls me her baby, and I'm 37 years old, so I'll always be her baby. No matter how grown I am to her. I am the youngest child, so I technically am the baby. Oh, she just ate too many hot Cheetos? Child, I've been there before. Mine's done that. He's ate too many hot Cheetos. He ate too much candy before. Um, you know, and then you're like, well, I told you not to eat that much of it. You done mess with your acid reflux in your stomach. You know what I'm saying? Um, but with our kids, that can happen. They go a little ham on something. But I do hope that she feels better, because anytime they have an upset tummy, we want to make them feel better. We love our children no matter what. It's an unconditional love. What I was telling someone else is, when I think about God, right? I think the closest we can understand as parents God's love is like we love our children. How we love our children unconditionally. And no matter what they do, we still love them. We may be disappointed in them, but we still love them, right? Unconditionally. Ain't nothing that can turn off that love for that child, right? I think that's how God loves us. The way we feel about our children is the way I believe He feels about us. That's just, my thought process on it. But I hope you all have an amazing, beautiful day. And I love you all. And thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for being a member. I do want to do a members game night soon. Or I may just do it for the subscribers so that y'all can see it too, to try it out, to see if you like it. It's really fun. Like, it is really, really, really fun. I promise that. If you just give it an opportunity and give it a chance. I know that it's a little bit having to have 2 devices, but it is really fun. You will get some great laughs out of it. If you just need a moment to laugh and not deal with crazy situations and take your mind off things, it's a lot of fun, right? I do want to do that soon, but I want to make sure everybody that wants to be there can be there. You know what I mean? Because the more players we have, the funner it is. So I'm going to make sure that I did put that out there the other day. If anybody wants to know it, hit me up on the community wall. Let me know. The more people we have play, the funner it'll be. I may do it for subscribers for one night, and then after that, it would be members only. Just to show y'all what it's like, so we can all have a little fun and escape from reality and escape from all the mess and craziness that goes on in this sector. And I want you to all have a blessed and beautiful day, and I will see you on these streets. I send my love to each and every one of you. Thank you for being my angels. And thank you for always supporting me no matter what craziness I get into. It's going to be fun. It's called Jackbox TV. If you want to look it up to see what it's like, you can watch videos on it. There's probably quite a few people in the gaming section who've played videos on it, and it'll kind of show you what it's like. It's a lot of fun. Hey, Red Wings, love. I was just fixing to get out of here. I want you all to have an amazing day. All my cloud watchers, thank you. Everybody who hits the like button. Hold on, Miss Demon. So I'll go ahead and drop that link for you. I think she went watch the crazy dude, y'all. I think she went and watched the crazy dude. Oh no, girl, you can go ahead and come on up so you can say what you got. Come on up. Come on. I still got a little time. I was thinking, oh, scared the crap out of me. That sound went off in my head.
Hey.
Yeah, I know that background noise. I know that's her.
Yeah, where's my here you go. Hold on. Okay. This yeah, I didn't know you were getting ready to leave. Yeah, I just went and watched that fool. He is a piece of shit. He reminds me of Charles Manson, but just not even as charming. Like, this fool is a piece of shit. The stuff he said, he basically told him to give her the death penalty. Like, child. He was like, and then he was basically putting down his other child.
Yeah, at the same time, putting down both babies technically.
Right.
At different, I'm like, he didn't look like he washed his hair. You see how his hair just looked nasty. He looked
Man,
nasty.
she looking at him like you can tell he was lying on her because like her face was not even rehearsed. Like you can tell, like I recognize the expression. Like if somebody telling not lying on me, I'm listening to something like even over here, and they lying. Like your face immediately be like, "What the fuck?" Like you could tell she finally clicked in with a piece of shit he was, but it's too late.
Yeah, he was. I couldn't get through it
Did
all.
you hear when he said that she child rape that she didn't even know she had? How the hell? Like what? He
Just
said
something
that
the
she's
baby
healing
would
from
get
an abuse
inside
and
of
a
you.
child molest, right, and rape and molestation, but she doesn't even know it herself. How the hell you know it then?
Lord, I didn't hear that part. So that was probably right after I said, nope, I can't listen to no more. I'm gonna go off. I done got too mad for him talking about the baby's head and the shape of her head and talking about how her like she had to grow into her looks.
Yeah, she's a front facing baby and basically saying his other little girl basically was slow. Like I'm like, damn. And it's because he don't get along with the mama. I heard that she got out the cult. So
Hmm.
and she went and took her child and got out the cult. And that's why they don't and they ran away. So that's why he estranged from her.
Anybody, the only good thing that might come out of this case is people see him now, and when he tries to pull that wool over somebody's eyes, another woman, they're gonna be like, "No, I'm good." You know what I'm saying?
But he gonna change that accent and dye his hair blonde. He gonna do it all over again.
He the type to try to get people to drink the Kool-Aid. But he's so stupid. He was trying to use big words, but sounded ignorant as hell. He sounded straight up ignorant.
But yeah, oh, that was a sweet. Yeah, I was looking at Ray coming. Yeah, she always has time for others. Uh, no matter what, come up here. I'm like, yes, I need to process that. Ain't no way. When I seen that girl, I was like, I had to get that out. Hell, I would have just had to process that shit. I would have had to damn send somebody that could be like, watch this or something that did shit we could got there because that shit was wild as hell. Like, I mean, he and oh, Charlie, you could even tell, child. You don't know me too long anyway, but you could even tell in my voice the way I'm going on that I'm finna go look more about him. Like I'm intrigued. Like it's sick.
Yeah.
Like like he an asshole, but I'm intrigued like a bitch. So now I'm about to go follow down the rabbit hole later and see if I can figure out what his shenanigans are. I need to go see if I can profile him. I ain't gonna play with him. He'll go come one day on my link one late at night, click the link chat. I'll probably be done shit myself. Cause that fool is dark. I don't even want him on my link. Like people like that, they like take your soul with them.
Yeah, him, you gotta run away from him. Run like he stole something. Don't stay near him. Don't even touch him. You might get, no, you might get something. Ajax can't rub off.
Cause you know the type if he hashtag or edit, oh, he's looking for his name every day. Like he wants to be like the man. So this fool probably got Google alert set. So whenever his name gets talked about anyway.
I would not doubt it. He seems that crazy.
Hell, I need to do the filter shit. I wish YouTube had that filter, but you can filter it out cause shit. No, I don't. Cause if I do, I got Google alert set for things I like. But I needed the damn set YouTube alerts if it was possible for TMO, cause my shit be buzzing every goddamn time I turn around. You put TMO in the B set thing here, bitch. It's like endless pages. Oh my god, it's like crazy. TMO Misso. Put it in YouTube search engine one day, and you'll see what you see, child.
You gonna make me do that now. I'm gonna go there
When
and
I
go,
tell
oh
you,
child.
people need to thank me, honey. I done paid many bills around this motherfucker. But yeah, it's like wow. I did it one day when I was trying to like hashtag my thing to like hashtag my video and to see if it hit. And when I see all the things that came up when I did the thing, I was like, God dang, it's already its own hashtag, really, if you look at it. I'm like, damn. But
Well, I
anyway,
heard in another sector there was another Charlie who got doxxed. I'm like, it wasn't me, right? Because they might have got me in another sector and I didn't even know it.
oh
They must have
they
their
got somebody named Charlie.
yeah, and they thought it was me. I was like, I don't think so. You know what I mean?
Right. I hate to go here, but I have been missing out a commentary a little bit, I think, on purpose because it kind of hits close to kind of this sector and the true, really, if you let yourself sit and think about it, the true danger and mental health, like just, I don't know, bad mojo you're subjecting yourself to. Because no matter how strong you are, like there is no rewards in life for being taken, like listening to things about yourself on a daily basis like that every single day. And if you don't leave and take a break, then you really are crazy and foolish because there is no way nobody is that strong. Like I'm a pretty strong bitch, like obviously. But no, you can't put that in and tell me that in your life, in no way, shape, or form, it's not going to manifest and it affect your mood, affect the way you see yourself. That would be bullshit if people said that. So the only way you can really do that is breaks. Really, it needs to be gotten rid of at all if you want to have a productive, like great mental psyche. Because I don't care how strong you are, if somebody's job to break you down every day, eventually it's gonna, now the degree of which it happens is up to you, but eventually it's gonna break you down in some way. Whether that's even putting you in a bad mood in your day, because nobody should have that power. So people think that that's, weak or people to do that if that is what led somebody, but no, that's not. Plus, because you don't know what other people are dealing with. So say you don't feel good every day or you're in pain every day, and then yeah, through an addiction or whatever, COVID, whatever, got you to a habit. We all got bad habits. And then you combining those two together. What the hell you think gonna happen? So
If you're talking about Quay,
yeah,
she was a mod over here. Um,
yeah.
it was not. A lot of people have put out the fake rumor that it was suicide.
Oh, it wasn't.
Not that we know of. Now they haven't done the autopsy yet. We haven't got anything back on that. But she
Then
was
why did
found
that even become a rumor? Like, why would they jump to that automatically?
because she was being extremely bullied
Oh, okay.
and harassed, and to the point that they were calling her phone at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning until she had to unplug her house phone. They were messing with her
Oh, they
mom
got
and her
her house
dad.
phone. Oh, yeah, it's hard to just change that. You know, had it all them years and you live in like a smaller area because everybody knows that number. That would be hard to change.
And they also were trying to hack into her mother's social security account and try to get in there and mess with stuff. She was worried about her mom and dad, and she did have health conditions. And this happened on this over the span of a few weeks, like just not very that long, like a week or two. And they started messing with her parents, calling their phones. It was really terrible to the point that she was having to woo bang and fight every day. And she was a very kind-hearted person when you spoke to her in chats. She's been in here many times. She was a moderator for me. She was a moderator for the Miss O. She was she was over there with the riders at ZX's
No, not
house.
mine. She wasn't the moderator mine, but she was really sweet though. But I remember
No, I
her.
said Lola. Yeah, she was over there at Lolo's house.
Lolo.
Did I say your name?
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
I'm
But
sorry,
Lolo, yeah,
child.
but I know, but yeah, I knew she's because when I found out, I called Nina and I was like, oh my goodness, she subscribed to me too, and she was always so sweet at Charlie's and Lolo's, and then she would always make a point to say something to me or give me a word of encouragement, and so I kind of had to take a little moment because that was. Somebody like this is not your regular life, but hell, sometimes we spend more time with people in our social life than we see people that we've related to or been friends with for a long time. Because if you've been to college or high school, yeah, you got plenty of friends, but people get your daily thing that you surprise your habits in are going to be more in your thing frontal lobe, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, the front of your mind. So that's like okay, like I'm not gonna shit. I mean, love and love crazy ass. Somebody can call me tomorrow and say love and love. Now damn, something that happened, her God forbid. And hell, I ain't gonna act like I'm probably gonna shed a tear too. That's crazy to know somebody for years and act like it wouldn't bother you. Even if it's just in having community with them, fighting with them, fussing with them, whatever, cooking challenges, all that shit. That stuff is memories on top of things. And you kind of know about people and the people who like her who kind of transparent, you start even knowing like kind of some of their inner life. And hell, I would hate to hear something happen to damn babe. Shit. I mean, because it's like, that's just part of you. Somebody called me and said, at my regular life, they be like, yeah, child, love and babe was over there front. I started talking about it before I realized, wait a minute, who the hell, how you know them? Because it's just, it's just you just get used to what they do, doing and what they probably doing. I could probably tell you what they doing over there, shit, in a couple hours when he get off. Like it's just a routine, and we've seen these people all the time. So that shit does kind of get in you a little bit. So I just said a little prayer for her family and kind of processed it, and had a good day because that's what I think the best thing you can do for a situation like that.
Yeah, I basically did not go live yesterday, and did her memorial in my way on Wednesday when I found out Wednesday morning. Um, and I was, heartbroken because I had grown a personal attachment. And you know how easy it is with certain people to grow that attachment. And it hurts when you do grow those personal attachments and they're not here anymore. She was only 45 years old. Um, you know, and to note that she loved her parents with all of her and loved God. Like when they tried to create that rumor, I knew that was false because she didn't believe in that. She did not believe in suicide whatsoever because she knew that you would go to a dark place. She was very godly. But no, chosen by Yahweh, King Lu and her did have a falling out at one point. That was one of her very good friends. They talked on the phone in real life. Um, and they had a falling out at one point, but then they became friends again. And Quay, she forgave him, he forgave her. And Sunday night was the last time he talked to her, and I've heard her many times tell Lou that she loved him, regardless of any situation, and that they forgave each other. You know what I'm saying? For the situation, they did have a falling out. He was not the main one that was bullying her. They had done made up. Um, if you go look on her community wall, if you look up Pretty Big Woman Q, you'll see who the people were because she tags them specifically on her community wall. I don't have to put out the names. She did it herself. And I really truly cared about her as a person. Just like Demon So if they said you passed away, I would be heartbroken. Same thing with a lot of people on these streets. They don't understand that when you're a real person, regardless if like me and you, we don't talk behind the scenes. Demon So we don't talk behind the scenes at all.
Right.
But I would still be heartbroken because like you're somebody I speak to on at least once a week, twice, 3 to 4, 5 times a week, sometimes daily. You know what I'm saying? And it goes for, I would feel the same way if it was a lot of people on these streets, then they'll realize it because your life still matters to me.
Right. I know you would, and I feel the same way. And I would, reach out and see whatever I could. I would immediately go to, via try to get, because that would be something that to the people that you actually have an affinity for, you would go an extra step. So, and see what you could do or whatever. And that I don't even broadcast that, like that, stuff like that. But that's just how I feel. And anything I do, I don't ever regret it. No matter how I feel about people now, I know if I did it with my heart and it was heartfelt the time, then that's all that matters. Cause my good mojo for that gonna come back regardless of how they treat me or what they did with, like that. So I just try to live that way because I do enough messy shit and enough other stuff and have my, whatever. Nothing really bad. I'm not gonna own nothing too horrible because that's not wouldn't be fair to myself. But yeah, so I need that good karma coming back any way I can get it. And it's not about the person, it's receiving this what the mode that you was in, when you did it or how you did it, why you did it or whatever. And we don't know people off of here. We don't know what kind of good seeds they sow in regular life. People ain't gonna keep thriving if they just too effed up. Like I'm sorry, I can get a sense of character. Whether they might fool me a little bit as far as they shenanigans, but truly in people's like who are good people. I've not met many, but the few I have, I can say, even with other faults, I think I've been good about that because I don't let people in on my personal stuff. And so I usually put that barrier up. So while you might see me in mess about people in YouTube shit, you never hear that nobody got no tea on my home life, my real business, because I don't talk about those things. I don't let people in. I'm real chatty, but when it comes to things I hold near, I don't really go and blab about my problems in that way. And, so I think that's the one thing that's been able to keep me not getting too overboard here because when it can start hitting personal and not just be what people think, then that I can see that being. And it seemed like with that lady, a lot of stuff got off of YouTube and stuff. And I hear people's side of stuff, and I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and I don't know people's character. I just know they seem fun on here, whatever. But I have noticed a little scramble to like present a thing. So I just hope that whatever way it's found out, it's the least disruptive to her family, because ain't nobody worse them being stressed and having to deal with stuff as well as a loss, and also with legal things too. You know.
Yeah, the lady Tenke was not her friend. That was a person she was beefing with. She literally tagged them on her own community wall. And her and Lady Sparkle had a back and forth and whatnot. And there was quite a few others. And she tagged them herself. I don't even have to tell you. You can go see for yourself, right? In her own words, you can go look at. And on her videos that she did, if you look in those videos, you will see them harassing her in the comment section of the live chat. It's there to see. And I'll go back and I'll listen. There's a specific live where me and her were having a conversation, and that's a specific live I'll go back to, because she always told me I didn't know who any of those people were because she was from a different sector, right? So I was like, I didn't know that it had gotten to that point. She didn't tell me. She didn't tell a lot of people, and there's a reason why. She didn't want nobody else to try to fight her battles. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I got it. You know what I'm saying? She was a strong person, but this also leads to, please check on your strong friends, because you never know what stress and stuff can lead to your health issues also. And that's why sometimes I believe it's a good thing to take a step back from this sector. If you start feeling stressed, if it starts affecting your actual health, take a step back, do other content. Don't get into the mess if you feel like it's going to affect your your health.
Right, because I don't care what nobody think of you. Ain't nobody's thoughts gonna be able to tell your family nothing but I'm sorry. Even if it ain't by your own hands, since people want to consider that a weakness, which I don't. It stress and heart attack and stroke from the stress of it all can also be, because we just see the stuff on here. Imagine people dealing with real life stuff too, and then the stuff you see them deal with on here, and you take that together with maybe a more sedentary lifestyle. What you think gonna happen?
Well, see, she had, I know for a fact she had diabetes because she talked to me about that. And she had some health complications, and she was getting to where it was causing her so much stress. She was staying up for 2 or 3 days at a time and couldn't sleep because was having insomnia real bad, right? And then
A
these
lot
people
of
called
people
her.
on here suffer from that. Have you noticed that?
Yes, a lot of people suffer from insomnia in the sector, and she was staying up 2 or 3 days at a time. So when we didn't see her Monday, we thought, you know how people will crash out if they've stayed up for a couple of days at a time, and then you don't see them
And
for a whole
some of the
day.
people are notorious, and we'll say, "Oh, they done crashed out." Yep, enough said. Yep.
That's what we thought with Quay. We thought she had, just crashed out. She needed her sleep. Um, I'm thinking the way they found her sitting in a chair, I'm thinking that it was a heart attack. I truly believe that the stress led her to that, or she had a diabetic problem, one of the two. But I'm so more thinking the way it happened so fast that it might have been a heart attack or a stroke, one of the two. Because they found her sitting in a chair.
And I
She,
know people might try to say, and I ain't trying to open up no can of worms, but I still on my spirit to say it, that that made his lead to say, okay, well, she didn't take her life over this, but that don't still mean that this didn't affect the way her life ended. Now we can be literal and figuratively too, you know. But there's nobody know but the Lord, and that's all it needs to know, because that's what makes man be able to not ruin everything. There's some things that we never gonna know.
and with this situation, I do pray for her family. Hannah is sincere, because she was a mama and daddy's girl, and with their ages being up there, she was 45. So her parents are in senior years. I hope that this doesn't put so much stress on them that something may happen. I worry about them being older, having to deal with this situation, losing a child, you know, um, and the
And
way
see,
and
see how this shit can triple down and affect your family in ways that you never thought. Because look at that angle.
And then you also got to think with this situation, her parents actually knew about the doxing because they were sending stuff. They were calling her mom's
Mm.
phone and all this. She had to tell them. You know what I'm saying? That she had to tell them and whatnot. And because all the stuff, but she always told them everything. She would tell you. She says, "I tell them everything. I tell my mom everything. We talk about everything. They gossip together. And Quay didn't necessarily, the doxing part didn't bother her. It was the part of them bothering her mother and her father. You know what I'm saying? It was the part of them, like, 'cause she was a strong individual, but it was the fact of how they were calling her house at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Even if she tried to go to sleep, if she was having, as well as I do, if you have insomnia and somebody wakes you up, you can't go back to sleep now. You know what I'm saying? And it makes you stay up even longer, and whatnot. And she had to unplug her house phone. They were bothering her parents. She was worried that somebody might actually show up and really try to do something to her parents. She was starting to worry about that situation. So I think it being on a constant, it was every day. When I say it was every day, I was over there even when she thought I wasn't, and I would tell her when she would come in here. You know what I'm saying? Even when she thought I wasn't there, I was in the clouds because I didn't understand what was going on. So I'm not going to comment on something I don't understand, right? I was like, I don't know who these people are, you know? And, but I saw it. I saw it for myself. I saw these people. I went over there to King Lou's channel. I saw them dropping down in the chats and talking crap and doing lives while, we were talking and having a conversation. I saw it. You know what I'm saying? So if you can see it yourself and people don't stop to think about how it can go, and that's why I did apologize to somebody, even if they didn't take the apology, that's on them. All I can do is that. I can't control anybody else's feeling, and they have a right to feel how they feel, and I can't tell them how to feel. You know what I'm saying? Their feelings are their own. All I can do is my part. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can do. And some people think I'm wrong for apologizing, but I don't care. That was what was on my heart at the time, okay? My heart told me to do it. So I always, listen to my heart sometimes, and sometimes I lead by my heart, and sometimes I get my ass in trouble. Because I don't leave in my head sometimes.
Way yeah, but either way, it's honest to how you feel and how you are. And when that happens, I'm gonna tell you, it's a type of peace that comes over you that it don't really matter what even pushback you get, child. Because like you could tell the difference when something makes you restless because you in it or it's something to it or whatever. But when you really certain about something and no matter how like it might things may react a certain way, you have a peace over you that's just like. What else you got? Cause I know I'm not. I know I'm telling the truth, bitch. What you got? Like, you get like a almost. I don't know. It's kind of, and even if it's for fuck shit, sometimes and sometimes it ain't for fuck shit. In personal life, when you sure about something, even if it's scary, you already know it's gonna work out good because it feels so right because you asked for it specifically. I experienced something like that in my personal life. And then even here on the beef sector level, like people are like noticing my moods and attitude now that's different from before because
I think
like bitch,
whoop, there you are.
like yeah, that's what my stove. Somebody got an alert. That's what my stubborn shit get. Like bitch, like what? Bitch, what? Who gonna say something now? You speak? Did you mute? What? It's like I be like, I have to calm down because you get that warrior in you because it's like. I don't care 100,000 motherfuckers can call me a liar, but I know I ain't lying. I'll get that distinct look and I'll get that stance and it be calm and it be like, child, what else going on? That's how you know when I'm like, it ain't no chaser to it. That's my personality. And it's just like, what? Like almost looking for a fight. But you have to kind of calm that down because we don't need that. Or do we? I ain't got my 1K yet, Chandler. Stay tuned. I need to go live. I need to go live today. I was supposed to go live yesterday. I told the people if they give me my 1K, I'm gonna do a favorite things live because those are things that make me happy. Like showing people deals and free shit and resources and things and like stuff I do and the way I get discounts on stuff and all kind of stuff. Like I just want to do like a O's favorite thing, like the Oprah state, Miss O's favorite thing. I'm gonna do that like as a 1K party, but we'll go live like today to do something messy to go ahead and get me my 1K because I'm tired of playing with these hoes. They keep teetering tottering, and I know I sound crazy because I know other people who the numbers don't like come like that. Be like, what the hell she was talking about, or acting like it's taking them time. You did like 4 videos. But I just be used to stuff, I guess, because I don't know, I just always overly optimistic. And I guess I'm bigger in my head than I am in reality, so I always expect to just like do good. But I just know that I ain't no hoe when it comes to this. And I know when I take emotion out and I just do a live, I know that I can do it and by myself too. So
Oh,
I
that
just
the other day I was in there and you didn't know it. Oh, well, you knew I was in there because I did drop down, but I was up in the clouds for part of it because
yeah.
I was
Mhm.
playing a game with my husband online, so I was listening to you while doing that. And I was sitting there, I was over there, I was like, this is so hilarious. No, I think I was playing Resident Evil. I'm not sure. I was playing something, chat. I was playing a video game. And I was laughing at Miss Nina being the state representative.
Yeah, you could tell her and Ro that effort they made to do a whole court show to cheer me up, or not cheer me up to get me in my calm space. You could tell they really good people. You could tell that they kind of know me because you see how they flipped and switched and like forced me to act out court because they knew I was about to go nuclear.
They
Because
knew it.
I saw the setup and I got worried about the plays that was going on. And when I tell you I had to pinch myself, girl, my thigh's still purple on that side. But I'm telling you, Ro, so sweet. Like I cannot ask for a better. Like I don't expect Ro to fight for me. That's not the type of personality Ro is. But Ro would do something like that. He might have something else to do. He did have something to do. He had just worked a lot of hours. But he stayed with me that whole time and they forced me to act out court. And we was gonna try Lolo by hook or motherfucking crook. I mean, Nina got on this witness protection, like she gonna be witness search party, like she wouldn't go found the parties, trying to tell me in code where people was at, and I'm sitting here like, shut the fuck up, cause I'm ready to cuss somebody out. Like I didn't want to do that. My mood, but then Ro kept on, changed from bailiff to like prosecutor fish at the same. Oh no, defense fish, and then bailiff at the same time. And then Brooke came up to basically say she quitting on her own prosecution, don't even want to deal with their client. And I was like, all of them. I ain't gonna never forget that. That was love. That was support. That's support. It ain't always gotta look like how you think it look like. But even with Brooke, like that was support. And I ain't gonna never forget that.
Oh yeah, Miss Brooke made me laugh. I was sitting over there giggling in the clouds like you didn't know it. I was over here laughing and cutting
Yeah,
up.
and they were forcing me to have fun. And I'm like I told Brooke, any favor you need, you got it. Cause I don't care what beef we done had. That's what true support is. And every time I've needed something or I've been like that with the cooking show, whatever, even to her own, poor content later, she's came through. And I knew what they were trying to tell me, but I was so stubborn and like not really in the bigger picture. Then when I got it all together after the live, that's when I made my post the next day. And I was just like, okay, that shit lame as fuck. But they was trying to tell me, but I was so in my goddamn feels and I was about to get Lolo. So my tongue got a little sharp with Lolo's sentencing because I wasn't pleased. But I ain't gonna drag her because I'm gonna come back for the next show and let y'all know that the court had a chance to act grown and get mature. So we're not gonna do the one drag anytime I see you, anytime I feel like it. We gonna
Not the
take that
court
off.
got maturity. The court got maturity.
Yeah, the court had to go and realize that this is professional. We can't act like that too. So I'm gonna take back. The judge can drag you anytime, anywhere, like one good time because no, we don't want to do that. And we know how that would go. And then when I ain't in feeling it, it won't even be one of my best ones. It might cut, but it won't be good. So it's just like I ain't mad at no Lolo. So I was like, okay, I know how peer pressure is too. So I'ma always cater to Lolo when it comes to that because she's just a sweet person. So I'm gonna she don't know it yet, but she's gonna get time served and we're gonna be able to wipe her record clean.
Yeah.
But then in a
I,
too messy fashion, she's gonna be up for another case next week. So don't say so
yeah. You know this is the beef sector.
right, in true messy fashion, we got that here for on the short list for next week. I just gotta get a surprise guest to come in and bring up a oldie but goodie subject. So let's just say we ain't through with Vegas yet, okay?
Okay, alrighty then.
All right. Anyway, but yeah, I'm gonna go down, y'all. I'm gonna try to get one on if I don't go and do something else for Christmas or whatever. I'm gonna try to get one on real quick in a little bit and just do a little chill live. So if you in the clouds, come by. I ain't got number 2 mods and I don't plan on adding no really. Y'all don't really need no help because I don't really come on like that, and I kind of want to keep it tight.
That's why I'm gonna say this. Lemon's having the situation he having, and he don't know who's doing it and who's going through blocking folk after lives because he ain't keeping it tight.
Right.
Hey, Kenna
So.
Love.
Right, I heard that, and yeah, I heard about all of that. And then people go roll with their feelings, and I ain't got time for all of that. So I'm keeping it tight. You in the head, my RNY, y'all got it. And
Oh
I don't
yeah.
care what a fuck person think who my mom is. Get it back in blood if you got a problem with it. But anyway, I'm finna go down, and so look for me later, child.
Child, I'll probably be at the doctor's office with my son. I might be up in there while he getting his dentist work done.
Oh, girl, honey, ask can you have a little gas?
Oh, they give him the gas and they give him the shots. He
Yes,
don't
the
feel
anxiety
nothing.
people. I know some people who gotta have it for a cleaning. Like I'm not bad about the dentist like that, but I don't need to get it for a root canal. But I hear some people gotta have it for a clean, and because they so scared of like the dentist.
Well, they give it to him because he's having cavities filled right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
you
he's
need
had
that for feelings because that pressure and all of that, it's good to get it on. But the insurance as well, if you're for kids, I guess they do. But like for shoe, that my dentist told me when I was trying to get it for something, I was having, because I don't really hardly have any teeth issues. Most maybe a feeling. I think I might have to have a root canal for the first time in forever. Like I've never had it like a problem. I got to go back. But they were trying to, they were saying that shit, the insurance don't even cover it for us like that, that you gotta pay $60 just for that. I'm like, girl, how long it lasts? Well, as soon as you cut it off, the effects go. I can see if I got a little after high, if it was like, get me a little, a little Zaza, something in there. But if I can't, if as soon as it cut off, shit, I don't know. I might have to take that $60, take it to the chin, put me some goddamn, what's that shit you put on? You got the toothache or gel,
yeah,
or some lidocaine on my
lidocaine.
girl.
Just throw
Shit,
some
and go up
lidocaine
in
on it.
there. Yes, and I have lidocaine patches on my back. That's what I'm gonna do, trying cause shit, I need them damn $60. I ain't trying to pay no $6 cash for no gas unless she can guarantee me at least a 45 hour minute high afterwards. And on that note, let me get done. Bye.
Oh, y'all, this all got me laughing about that one. Oh. Now, I will tell y'all something. If you look at most of your dentist place and actually ask them, some of them have in-house insurance. It's not like insurance like you get from your dental plan, but like you could pay like anywhere from 80 to 90 a month. I mean, not a month, but a year for a free exam and cleaning a lot of the times, and it'll give you like 50% off certain things. And then you add your insurance to that. So technically, you could almost have 100%, insurance when it comes to that. So I would say if you have a dental office, ask them if they offer in-house along with your dental plan that you have through your work or wherever. And a lot of times it will help you pay for things. I was thinking about those dental implants because right now my teeth are good, but I have no jaw space, so my teeth touch each other really bad. And eventually, what's going to happen is I'm going to lose my teeth, right? Because I have no spaces. I don't have wisdom teeth. Neither does my father. It runs in our family. So I'll never have to worry about wisdom teeth. But yeah, look into your doctor's offices. A lot of them have in-house, and if you add it together, a lot of times it will help you with your cost effectiveness. And you usually get 2 cleanings a year. You get percentages off, like different procedures. So if you add that together, you should be able to get a way lesser cost. Do look into that, DMSO. But when I was thinking about that myself, Miss Heather. And if y'all didn't know, Dr. Queen Pisces, Dr. Mac, as I call her, she works in that field. So maybe she might have some information for us when it comes to that. If you see her on the streets, she might have some information for that, because that's something that she works in. So that's why I call her Dr. Mac, because it sounds like she's always macking people. It's my joke with her. Just like I call Mr. Big Riggs sexy side profile man. It's my personal joke. And sometimes when I mess up people's names, it becomes their name, because it's my personal joke with them that I messed up their name. But y'all have a blessed and beautiful day. I got to go get dressed and get clean. And thank you all so very much. And I hope you all have a blessed and beautiful day today. I'll catch you on these streets. If you go live, D Miss Ho, I will share it out. Same for anybody on here. So, I will say that also, make sure that you smile today and all days ahead. And if you need to take a break from this for any amount of reason, to know that it's okay, and to take care of yourself today and all days. Much love, my beautiful angels, and thank you all for being here. Much love.
I'm from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show. From the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go. From the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood, so love I'm gon' show. From the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my hood to the day that I go.
I'm from the west side, we don't need no introduction, this was the best ride. We all big boy rolling and holding, come take a test drive. Hilldale, Evergreen, Glenkirk, Outer Street, bending every corner on the west, and that's where I'll be. Sunroof back, Captain C banging down 1800, chunking up the deuce to my post slanging down on 1800. Show no love to the ladies that's training round on 1800, making time stand still, crystalline swinging down on 1800. Watching out for them knuckleheads that be staying round on 1800. Big rims and low pros be blanging round on 1800. Better completely change the way you're thinking about round 1800. Really hate to see you boys get left slanking around 1800. Out the street got some history, just let Captain C lay it out. If I don't finish it all on this one, let the second verse play it out. Remember the blue or promising OG standing back there by 60 deep. Bull walking, car blue, a big Anthony Hughes and P.
I'm from the TUPELO. I'm reppin' my